Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Reselling Rhythms. In today's live stream video, I'm going to discuss with my guest his reselling business, and we'll discuss how you can make money purchasing things at auction to resell. He'll share his tips, and strategies to make us more successful and profitable resellers. Every Wednesday, I typically have another reseller on for a live stream. I interview that reseller, and they share their tips, tricks, and techniques to make us more knowledgeable and profitable resellers. So if you're a reseller or considering becoming a reseller, you're in the right place. I'm going to pop in the chat and say hello to a few people, and then we shall get started very shortly, guys. Appreciate you all being here. I saw that Sharon was here. Thank you, Sharon. Randy is here. Thank you, Randy. Michelle, all three of my moderators here. That's fantastic. Lisa, hello, hello. I know Wendy was here. Hello, hello. So like I said, guys, I don't like to keep the people watching the replay waiting. So like I said, the meat and potatoes of the video was going to be about auctions, but we'll discuss my guest's reselling business. I'll have him introduce himself, and then we should get started. So let me bring on my guest. If you guys have seen the thumbnail, you know that my guest is Backroad bidder Chuck. Hello, hello, Chuck.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you.
Okay, Chuck, why don't you introduce yourself to the people that don't know you?
My name is Chuck. I live in southwestern Wisconsin. I've been reselling about 6 or so years. I have a family. I'm married with 3 kids. I do have a full-time job. I'm a part-time reseller, but my job is only 9 months out of the year, so I'm kind of full-time during the summertime. And I don't know what else you need to know. I'm a tourist.
You're a tourist?
Taurus.
Oh, Taurus. Oh, so am I. Okay. I haven't been a tourist very much with what's going on in the world.
No, nobody's been going anywhere.
But I'm a tourist also, May 17th.
All right.
When is your birthday?
End of April.
Oh, end of April. Okay, so you're kind of on the cusp then.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of on the other end of the cusp, but I'm not a Gemini. I'm more a Taurus. I'm pretty much a Taurus. You know, you look up Taurus, you see my picture. You know, you look at the picture, my picture. That's pretty much what I am, how I act. So anyway, I don't know if you're willing to share what type of work. I mean, I'll have to give details. What type of work do you do that's seasonal?
Oh, I run a testing center at a local university here. I'm an office manager, and then I watch people take tests. Kind of a creepy guy.
Oh, I got you. Like testing when you mean like testing, like SAT type tests, those type of things.
Yeah. We do some third party testing for engineers and for education students, and we also cater to students with learning disabilities that need extended time for exams. So they can't take their exams with the other students because it'll run into other class periods. So they'll come to our office and test as well.
Wow. Okay. How long have you been doing that?
6 years.
Okay. So then obviously the school is closed in the summertime, or you don't do the testing. So that's when you gear up to do the reselling.
That's right.
Okay. I mention on my show all the time that the people that are regulars know this. Both my parents were school teachers.
Oh.
My father was ill early. He had like early onset Parkinson's, like Michael J. Fox. So my mother was kind of sort of a single parent. I had to help take care of my father. That's how they met at school. So my mother was, kind of frugal. So she taught me the value of $1, and taught me how to shop, as Johnny would say, Clarence. I call it clearance.
Sure.
But Johnny would say Clarence. So that's kind of how when I fell into reselling. I'd been in the wine and liquor business, and then I was working retail, trying to get back into some kind of managerial job, and I ended up tearing my Achilles at work, and it was a long story that you don't need to hear. But basically, I had no income, no insurance, no nothing coming in. So it's like, okay, what am I going to do? I got to do some reselling. So I see your better half is in the chat.
Oh boy.
Hello.
Excuse me.
Okay, so it makes sure you look good for your wife.
Of course.
Okay, guys, we're going to get into like I'm going to ask Chuck some questions about his business, and then we're going to get into the meat and the potatoes of it. We're going to get into the auction part because, like I tell you guys, I'd like to try to bring on other resellers in and have them share their experiences and how they run their businesses. And if you can apply it to your business, great. I mean, a lot of us have different sourcing opportunities and different types of businesses. different interests. But I mean, I like to have the other resellers come on and share their experiences, and if we can put it into practice in our business, so be it. So let me get into some questions for my guest here, Mr. Chuck. Question: how did you come up with the name Backroad Bidder?
Well, it was way down the list. I came up with I thought was a great name, the Frugal Mule, because it equivalents to cheap ass. Okay. So I was going to use that, and lo and behold, someone had already taken it. So we brainstormed, we came up with a lot of them, and I think it was my youngest daughter that actually said, "How about Backroad Bidder? You go to auctions a lot, and and they're always on the back roads out in the middle of nowhere," and that's what we went with. It stuck.
It's funny, interviewing a bunch of different resellers, and it's interesting how a lot of resellers, children's and their significant others are involved with their YouTube channel. That's kind of how, when I had Mike Ginzer Picker on, that's kind of how, I think he kind of sort of came up with the idea to do a YouTube channel. His daughter says, other people are doing this, Dad, why don't you do it? And he said, sure, let's do it, and so it makes a lot of sense.
Well,
so let's get into your different selling platforms. Why don't you share with us where you sell?
Primarily, it's eBay, and we have what they call it an indoor flea market, but we have vendor booth in another town. Those are probably our two biggest platforms for me, anyway. I also sell on Etsy and Mercari, and my wife sells on Poshmark and some Facebook Marketplace. I think that's all of them. But it is primarily, I literally have, we have almost 750 items on eBay, and the other platforms, we're looking at a dozen or so. So we just started into those, and we're going to expand on them. But
how long have you had your booth in the market?
2 or 3 years.
Oh, really? Okay.
We started with one, and we actually have 4 booths now. And when I say booth, it's actually a 4-foot wide shelving space, and we've expanded to buy 3 other ones, next to the original one. So that's what we got.
Okay, so again, like I said, guys, we're getting into the auction part, but I want to just talk about some of the other aspects of Chuck's business. So we're getting to that very shortly. But I've often wanted to have somebody that's involved with that runs those type of operations. I know Sharon considered doing it she did for a short period of time, and I've heard good things and I've heard bad things. And I kind of think it's like anything. It's kind of like the location and the clientele and the items that you're selling. So you said you had a booth, and then you expanded to what, 3 times the size, I think is what you said?
Yep, 4 times actually.
4 times the size. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and we're lucky. It's a small town not far from here. It's a touristy area. So we basically have 2 types of customers. We have, traveling people that are there for the touristy stuff. And then we do have locals that just come in looking for flea market stuff. So we do have a little higher price stuff for the travelers, and maybe cheaper stuff for the locals that are just looking for cheap deals.
Yeah, I want to get into that. I want to talk mainly about your, like I said, your eBay business, and we'll get into the auctions. But I want to, get your ideas, and we didn't come up on a pre-chat that you had a booth. That's interesting. Like I said, I've always wanted to have some people come on that I'm interested in probably having Yvonne Thrifty Rich come on. I know she's been doing it for quite some time, and Yvonne was on the channel, about a year or so ago. So. Oh geez, there's your buddy Tommy in the chat making some jokes. All right, let's get into your eBay business a little bit.
Certainly.
And again, what I wanted to ask you too was that when you told me you sold on the various different platforms, I wanted to find out how you decide what you sell on what platform. I know people that sell clothing typically sell it on Poshmark as well, because they feel they can get a little more higher price, especially on the designer type items. So once you get into a little bit about why you're selling the different platforms and what your philosophy is on those platforms.
Well, really, one of the reasons we wanted a presence on all the platforms is because we've heard horror stories about people getting knocked off of one or the other for little to no reason. So we wanted to spread out. But for me, eBay is the go-to. That's where a majority of my things go, just because it's going to get a lot of eyes on it. And Mercari, I so far I've done primarily video games is what I've sold on there. and a few plush items. Etsy is where I like to put vintage Pyrex and Tupperware. That's where which is a lot of what I find at auctions. So I'm going to grow that quite a bit more. It seems like on Etsy it might sit a little longer than eBay, but typically you can get a little higher price too. So yeah, that's primarily how I do it. Linens I'll do mostly on eBay. Sometimes I might put some of those on Etsy as well.
Okay, so your experience has been that you get a little better prices for Tupperware and Pyrex on Etsy.
Yeah. It just won't sell as fast as eBay for whatever reason. Maybe because it's higher priced. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I ask people, and I hear that about Macquarie too. And again, I'm not a video game person, but I do hear that people list video games on Macquarie, and they seem to have a little better luck with Macquarie.
Yeah, and Macquarie, I'm still kind of figuring out. I've listed a lot of different things on there, and it seems what keeps moving is the video games and a little bit of the plush items.
Oh, so you get involved in plush? Okay.
A little bit, yeah.
I've been kind of hesitant to get involved with plush, and I was telling you earlier that I live in a row house, an older row house, and like storage is an issue, and that's one of the reasons I don't really get involved in plush. I mean, if I found something and I checked at a thrift store, I saw it at a yard sale for $1.50, I'm sure I would research it and say, well, a few plush items, but I don't want to get crazy because I don't have a place to store it.
You're right. Yeah, I get that too.
Okay, yeah, right. and you said your wife concentrates on the Poshmark business.
Well, she primarily does eBay too, but
okay.
I have never done anything on Poshmark or on Facebook Marketplace, and she's starting to grow on both of those.
Okay, now you're talking about Facebook Marketplace. Do you sell like larger items on Facebook Marketplace? Do you involve in the shipping? What do you do on Facebook Marketplace?
So far she hasn't done a lot of shipping. And I think she's eligible, but we haven't. And it's just been a lot of the same items. It's still been clothing for her. That's kind of her niche. And yeah, I don't know. It's still really small for us. It's in its infant stage.
Okay. Now, do you try to pick up things like through purchase Facebook Marketplace or through your auctions and take it and sell it at your store?
Oh yeah. Auctions go everywhere. That's my primary sourcing for all the platforms and all our venues.
Now, what again, guys? We're going to get into. The chat's really filling up now, so I want to get into the meat and the potatoes of the auctions. I want to wait to the chat filled up a little bit more, but
let's chow down.
What's that?
Let's chow down.
Let's chow down. All right, guys, we're going to get into auctions, and we'll come back a little bit into the other type of platforms that Chuck sells on. But I really wanted to wait till the chat filled up so everyone could kind of benefit with the auction talk. So I wrote down some, again, I'm a neophyte when it comes to auctions. I purchased some things online auctions. I wrote down a bunch of questions as far as the auctions are regarded. And you said that they're typically what you just said earlier was it seemed like they're on like the back roads and I guess out in the country and things. I mean, typically, is that what you're saying?
A lot of them are here. Yeah, it's usually, sadly, a lot of times somebody has passed away or they've gone into a nursing home and their family has to get rid of a lot of stuff. So there's, they'll have a household auction or antique auction and yeah, wherever they work. There's some farming communities around here. So you're usually out in the sticks. It's good to have a dependable vehicle, maybe with all-wheel drive sometimes.
Okay, so there's kind of like a quasi estate sale, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Except you bid instead of just buying it.
You're bidding. Now, are they run by auctioneers typically?
Right. Yeah.
Are there any like specialty auctions that you typically are involved with that you?
I like household stuff. They do cars, they do gun auctions around here, and of course farm machinery auctions that I don't mess with any of those very much. I just concentrate on the household. I want their pots and pans and their dishes and their linens.
Okay, now if the people in the chat or myself was interested in getting involved in in-person auctions, mm-hmm. Are there websites or how do you kind of like research those auctions?
See, around here we still have a paper, classified newspaper that comes out every year, and a lot of our auctioneers are older fellas. That's where they advertise, and they may have a Facebook page or a website, where you can go and maybe get some pictures and whatnot. But primarily, it's old school. Look it up on the newspaper, read the fine print because they got to get a lot crammed in there. And and then if they have a web page, you can go there and hopefully get some pictures. But they're primarily just going to show the antiques, the cars, and the guns, the things that'll gonna attract more people.
Okay, so they're not showing the household items; they're showing those other things.
Right. So a lot of it's just going on faith.
So it's kind of sort of like going to a yard sale or some estate sales. They show pictures and things, but it's kind of like, okay, gonna take a chance and go to this particular estate sale, and hopefully they'll have things that I'm interested in purchasing.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
That's interesting because I mean that's kind of what I and again, people have different opportunities, sourcing opportunities depending upon where you are. But that's kind of like when I'm like, I kind of limit myself like to a 10-mile each way radius when I go to yard sales and the garage sales, and kind of probably going to get back in a little bit to the estate sales now because I kind of, with what's going on in the world, I kind of, backed away from that. You and I were talking prior in the pre-chat, have to be careful with that. So I'm hoping, hopefully come, this winter or this spring, hopefully things will be a little bit better, and I'll probably start going to some estate sales around here. It seems like we have a lot more estate sales than we do yard and garage sales around here. Yeah,
we don't have a lot of estate sales, and it seems like when they call it an estate sale, that means it's going to be pricey.
Okay.
That's just the tendency around here, it looks like.
So there's no particular, I mean, I guess with online auctions, I guess there's particular websites you use, right? What websites do you typically use for online auctions? Really,
just there's 2 auctioneers locally that have their own setup, their own web page that they do it on, but it's usually HiBid is the one I've used.
That's what I typically.
Yeah, and I found I've had some luck on there. I'm still pretty new to it. I've only probably participated in 4 or 5 auctions really, but I did find some decent things. Unfortunately, the one I really like to go to is a couple hours away. The one that, it's up by my mother-in-law's, and another one that does a HiBid a lot is about an hour in another direction. And so if I'm not winning the lots, and it gets down to where I'm only going to win 1 or 2 lots, it's really disheartening because it's like I don't want to drive, an hour plus to pick up 1 or 2 items.
And you said that with Chicago and Wisconsin are the 2 closest major cities, and are at least 3 hours each way to get there.
Chicago and Milwaukee are the major cities, right? And we got smaller cities like Madison, the capital, and Dubuque, Iowa. But yeah, you're going to be driving if you want to look for big city.
So I mean, but from your experience, so like some of the cities, do they have auctions, like auction locations where they sell these products? Or is more?
They probably do. I just don't go that far. I usually don't have to. So yeah, I'm assuming that they do. I could look them up on HiBid. If I were headed that way, I might do that.
Okay, so you would put like a search radius from your zip code into HiBid.
Yeah,
and see what's available.
Yeah, typically I only do like 50 miles, so that only gives me about 7 or 8 choices on
50 miles each way or 50 miles round trip
radius. Yeah, one way. Yeah,
one way. Okay. Let me check out some of my. I got a little sidetracked. I was very interested in auctions. I definitely want to get involved in that. And again, everyone, like I said, your mileage may vary. I tell you guys all the time. Just like with thrifting or with yard sales and garage sales, what's available is could be different. Now, and Harry had asked you, do you get involved with the Facebook Marketplace? You said your wife's doing that, correct?
Yeah, she does some of that. I really haven't done any, and I probably will because I would like to. At auctions, I find a lot of larger items that I don't want to try to ship on eBay, so doing some local pickups, I would like to.
Right, so you said you would sell that locally or sell it in your store, but you haven't really gotten involved in shipping yet with Facebook Marketplace.
Right.
Now I was in Joe Philly Pickers, I can't talk today. Joe Philly Pickers, listing show. I saw you were in the show, and Paul had said that he had sold, what was it, like 40 items through Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, some people
running some kind of promotion with certain sellers.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. That's fantastic, and some people that's like their biggest platform.
Yeah. Sharon, my moderator, does very well with Facebook Marketplace, and she's kind of figured it out. And again, I don't know what sells well on Facebook Marketplace. I guess can typically watch the what sold videos of what people are selling.
Yeah, I think it's important we have to be really aware of Facebook. I mean, it's huge. There's a lot of people on there, and if they get it down to, I mean, they could be very competitive with these other platforms for sure.
Yeah, and I often, and again, I don't have any inside information, but I'm under the understanding and just a feeling that eventually eBay is probably going to be sold, and again, I don't think they could sell to Walmart. I don't think they could sell to Amazon. I just think the platform needs so many upgrades. I was just updating my apps on my iPhone, and they did some updates on their on the app, something to do with research. Again, I didn't get into it yet to see what it is. I'll probably play around with that tonight. I think they mentioned cards and some other categories. I guess they're going to incorporate some kind of history or data as far as researching selling prices and what's sold on the app.
Yeah, one thing I learned from expanding to these other venues is that eBay's kind of a pain. eBay's probably the trickiest one to list on. Not that it's super hard or anything, but it's there's more steps, and I don't know.
Well, and again, it's a love-hate relationship. I mean, Amazon, if you can figure out, the Amazon, or figure out, Walmart seems to do very, very well. But again, especially Amazon is very restrictive. I mean, they're very controlling, and if you make a mistake or two, you're gone. That's why I liked what you said earlier. Why you're on the various platforms, because you're covering your rear end. So if you get suspended or whatever, or kicked off a particular platform, you have other opportunities to sell on the other platforms.
Amen. Yeah, because I'll screw things up without trying.
It happens. I mean, somebody was saying, I think it probably was Johnny, I think this morning, was saying something. He listed something, and then it was pulled down by eBay. And then Rachel was on, and she said she donates. And this is kind of a funny story. Not really funny, but it's kind of an odd story that she donates. You can donate a portion of your sales to particular charities.
Sure.
And one of the charities she was donating to was something to do with like a rehab center or something for alcoholics.
Okay.
And the item that she listed was a flask. So it's like, whoa! It's like, you don't want to sell flasks and donate the money to the rehab. I thought that was hilarious. It happens sometimes. You're not thinking. You're listing whatever, and it's like they said they pulled down the list because they didn't want to be affiliated with the flask. I guess if you're a rehab facility, you don't want to be affiliated with the flask. That would make a lot of sense.
I get it.
Yeah, that's why you watch these shows, guys. Sometimes they're very entertaining. Okay. Okay, we talked about the websites and apps you use. You use HBid, you said, and you go to local auctions. Now, how do you determine, I guess, if they're box slots and whatnot? I guess they have previews typically at these auctions where you can go in and look at the items before they actually start the auction?
I try to get there at least 40 minutes before they start, and you can dig around, you can handle things, you can, you look at whatever you need to, which is nice. So that's what I do. I try to find boxes and then remember kind of where they're located if I can. And I don't know if it's worth it because I forget. By the time they start shouting, I forget what I looked at. But I have actually taken notes. I'll take my bidder card and I'll put some notes on. But yeah, I preview like that because, like I said, the ads in the paper or on websites they show you the things that are going to go high and you can't really resell anyway. So.
Right. Yeah. You're not going to resell weapons on eBay.
No, probably not. Which is they always go high anyway. All these guys flock to these auctions where they have firearms, and you can see a 2-year-old shotgun that you could go to Walmart and get a new one for sometimes less than what it goes for at the auction. I'll never understand that, but.
Tommy, I'm going to have you come on sometime, and that's interesting. He says his sister's husband and the company he works for is getting ready to start building a I think it's, I don't know if it's 1.8 or $18 billion. Eventually, guys are going to hook up my bigger monitor and I'll be able to see better.
1.8 is
I guess it's $18 billion. No, $1.8 billion. Facebook Mega Center. Say they are about to make some moves in that near future. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know I tell you guys all the time that the guys that watch my show on a regular basis know I talk to Randy, my moderator, offline. We talk about reselling and whatnot. And I think he said that Kroger is probably going to get involved in some kind of online platform as well. So that'll be interesting.
That seems so logical, Tommy. He says he takes pictures of the things he wants.
That's a great tip.
God. Never
See
thought
that? We brought you on. You're educating us. And again, guys, that's why I like having this channel. I like having people, participate. And, speaking about Randy, he says a lot of times you pick up things from the guests, but you also pick up things in the chat. Perfect example of what Tommy's sharing with us. I mean, that's a great tip, Tommy. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you very much.
But again, guys, that's kind of what I'm trying to make my channel about. That's what I'm trying to eventually build up my Facebook group. I want you guys to share information with each other. And if you have questions about value about something, if you can post it in the group and say, hey, I purchased this. Guys, do you know anything about this? Or, I had this return. What's your opinion? And kind of like what this channel is about. I mean, everyone has different experiences and different lifestyles and different opportunities, different ways they do their business. And maybe we can incorporate some of the things that they're doing in our businesses. And that's kind of why I do this, guys. I tell you, I said earlier, I come from a family of school teacher. So, trying to provide some kind of value to the reselling community and people that are like Chuck, gracious enough to share their expertise with us. Thanks for sharing that, Tom. That's a great tip.
It is. And it seems so logical once it's said.
Sometimes you got to use logic, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so you basically, your tip is that you get there at least 40 minutes prior to the start of the auction. You kind of research and I guess you use the various apps, or you just kind of know on the top of your head what the value of things are.
Oh yeah, I'll use primarily I just comp things on eBay. If I can, because like I said, and we're on the back road, sometimes phone service isn't the best and Wi-Fi is not even a thing. So that's the beauty of auctions, though, is you can get away with not being super knowledgeable. If this type, if you know some vintage electronics will sell, but you don't know specifically what this one is worth, it's okay, because there's a chance you can get this one in a box of other crap for a few bucks. You can take the risk. But what was I saying? Oh, you asked how I research. I do, if I can, which I usually can. I'll search it on eBay and comp things as much as I can. But yeah, the auctions are built for dummies like me. That's dummies with money. That's
Well, I'm going to kind of go back to what you're saying and what Tommy was saying. Sometimes use common sense, and I don't know if this would apply to you if you're in the middle of the country. But I remember watching when I first wanted to get involved in reselling. I was thinking about doing Amazon. It kind of intimidated me. I guess eventually I'll probably get involved in reselling on Amazon. But in the meantime, I'm 99% eBay, and I do want to get involved with Facebook Marketplace. But one of the tips I picked up, and again, I don't know if this would apply to you. I'm just going to throw it out there. You may want to consider having multiple cell carriers. Maybe just have like a basic data plan on some other carrier, like maybe Verizon is good in your area, or AT&T is good in your area, or T-Mobile is better in the area. So if you have, I know when people are doing retail arbitrage, typically that's what they would do, because maybe they won't have service on T-Mobile, but they'll have service on Verizon, or they back in the day maybe they didn't have service on Sprint. They have service on AT&T. So again, I don't know if that would apply to you, but
well, it might actually, because we just recently switched from one major carrier to the other one, and their coverage maps looked exactly the same, and it's not the same coverage. Yeah, I've been very.
Sharon says get a hotspot with another carrier.
That is a great idea. Yeah.
I did that when I went out to eBay Open, and again, it's I use baby AT&T, which is Cricket. And I pay $10, and I don't really use it a lot, but I have an iPad that doesn't have service. It's not hooked up to a provider, so I can use my cell phone as a hotspot if I want to use my iPad.
I'm too young for Cricket. Don't you have to be like 80?
No, no, I'm not quite 80. I might feel like I'm 80, but I'm not quite 80 yet. Okay, Tommy says lots of phones. See, he's the techie guy. He says lots of phones are dual SIMs now. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about just basically just getting, like I said, if I was doing this on a regular basis and I was, out doing a lot of RA or like you said, auctions, and I was having issues, I would probably consider, buying a phone and just using it, for data in case I had an issue. And again, maybe that's something to look into, a dual SIM phone. Maybe that's something you can do some research on.
Yeah, that's it.
Or maybe reach out to Tommy and Tommy can help you with that.
Give me your private number, Tommy.
There you go. Okay, so we talked about determining a value. It's funny. And again, I guess you get involved, and again, this is kind of getting a little sidetracked again. I tend to do that sometimes. You get involved at all. We're talking about auctions. You get involved at all with these YouTube auctions?
I just sold on YouTube for the first time last Friday with Gino Finds. Okay. And it wasn't really an auction. We just kind of showcased things, and then we put a listing to our eBay, or a link to our eBay listing. And we just did it that way. And I really don't think I want to. I've bought things, and it was kind of fun, but I don't think I want to get into selling on YouTube right now. It just seems like confusion. I feel like I would screw it up. I don't know. It seems like you have to keep track of a lot of things, and you'd have to have a moderator or two, and I don't have that many friends, so I'm not going to do it. No, right now it's just not really on my radar.
Tommy says his number is 8675309. Leave it to Tommy to make the jokes. Guys, I'm sorry if I was a little out of tune, but I had to go there.
That was Tommy Two Tone too, wasn't it? Wasn't that the name of the band?
That may have been, yeah. That was quite a while ago. Tommy's older than he looks. He looks a lot younger than he is.
That was before my time, for sure.
Jules had a question. She says, Tommy, how do you not lose those little SIM cards, swapping them? I don't know. I don't want to say things I don't know about, but I think maybe that's like dual slots. So maybe Tommy, that's something Tommy can do a video on. That might be an opportunity, Tommy, for you to do a video about that. What's he saying here? There's only one SIM, Jules. The second one is a virtual SIM.
Oh, so
I've never heard of a virtual SIM card. Okay.
Wow.
There you go, Tommy. There's an opportunity for a YouTube video for you. Okay, let's get back to that. Okay, well, again, I want to get a little sidetracked about the auctions, the YouTube auctions. And what about when you go to these in-person auctions? I get caught up in the competitiveness of it, and I used to buy all these different things to try to help other resellers. I'm talking about YouTube auctions, and I would overbid on this stuff. It's like, or something I would bid on something. It's like, they should be selling it that cheap. Let me bid on it, and then I would get caught up in the excitement of it, and I would overbid. Do you have a certain way, like a bidding? I mean, what style of bidding seems to work well for you in your experience?
I don't bid right away, because the auctioneer will often throw out the first price they throw out. It won't be a high price, but he'll try to get, let's start it at $10. And if somebody raises their hand, I could just kick them, because it's like, he'll drop down to $2.50 or maybe $1. And we may go above $10 eventually anyway, but I don't bid right away. I sit and wait. And if I see, these people get a look on their face. If they're a collector of, decanters, and somebody's holding up the decanter and you see them kind of biting their lip and fidgeting a little bit, it's going to get ugly. You're probably not going to get any decanters. So yeah, I'm just patient, and I'm a born again cheap ass. So I am not afraid to walk away from something, even if, I've really wanted it. I've wanted it my whole life, or it's, one of those holy grail items. If it gets above the price I'm comfortable with, I just stop. So I wouldn't even call it discipline. It's just being cheap.
I don't have a poker face, Sharon. That's my problem. I was never very good at poker. I was going to ask you too. I mean, some people have different philosophies. I mean, again, guys, I get a little sidetracked, but here it's kind of related to bidding. Did you ever get involved in any of the storage auction bidding?
I have not. I would love to. I have some friends that do it, and they've said they'll take me when things get back to normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to. I don't know if I could buy it because I don't know if I could buy that much bulk at once if they were big ones, just for storage reasons. But I would still love to go and just see how it really is. I actually did go to one once, and I drove several miles. They didn't really give you much details online, and they had one locker for sale. They opened it up. There was a broken lawnmower in there, and it went for like $5, and they were done. I drove home. But yeah, I would do it. I would like to experience that.
Well, it's funny, what Sharon's saying about the poker face, and you're saying about people making, giving tells and whatnot. And I hear, watch some of these. Used to watch more of them than I do now. But some of these, there's huge channels with these storage auction people. It's like, what the hell? It's like, oh my God, how many thousands of people watch these videos? It's like, okay, that's what entertains you. But again, they talk about, in-person auctions are a lot, I guess, easier because they kind of know how people bid, and I guess they can pick up on people's tells. I guess if you're a poker player, professional poker player, you know people have tells, and I guess they pick up on that.
And I was addicted to auctions before I started reselling because of the sport of it. I looked at it like a sport. It was challenging to see, how little I could get something for, or, to me, winning wasn't always winning the lot. Sometimes it was getting someone else to pay more than they wanted to and backing out, which does happen. Sometimes, your pride gets built up and somebody burns you on something, so you want to get them back. So you bid on things that you don't really want, but I don't do a lot of that.
Well, yeah, sometimes they bid. I forget what the terminology is. I used to watch when back in the day when I had cable, but I used to watch the storage auctions, and they used to run people up and then drop it on them. Yeah, like, oh, this idiot, I'm gonna run it up, and then they're gonna be stuck, and they're gonna be stuck with it. There's a bunch of garbage in there, and sometimes like they'll do like. Joe's, I don't know if it's a show betting, but basically what they're doing is they know somebody that maybe is inexperienced, and they're trying to teach them a lesson. It's like don't get involved with the big boys, and they're like they'll run it up, and they'll drop it on them. It's like to them, what's it to spend a couple $100 when they're making thousands of dollars. But they'll do that, and then they'll just drop it on the people and say, okay, you're bidding with the big boys.
There's a local guy here who has recently passed away, but he had a huge wallet, and he collected a lot of things. And some of the resellers in the area would get a kick out of running him up because he wouldn't stop. If he wanted something, he would bid until he got it. So I like how Randy said some of them have pretty good food too. I've actually
really? Okay.
I've made auctioning decisions based on the food cart that they have at the auction. Like, which one am I going to go to? I know that food cart.
I thought they would have like maybe a hot dog cart or something, or beverages.
A lot of times you get that, but some of them there's like local restaurants that almost like cater it, and it's
like catered. Okay.
Good food. Yeah.
Randy, I should have known you were involved in auctions. You knew about auctions. I would never even thought that they were catered, or they would have something like that. I guess sometimes they're like in VFWs and those type of places too, or they're in auction halls.
Yeah,
have an area I guess for
there's
for beverages and
one of my local auctioneers who retired a couple years ago, unfortunately, but he used to always have them in this convention center, and they always had an open bar. It was indoors, air conditioned, and there was open bar. That was fun auctioning. That's how auctioning's meant to be. Have a drink, get a snack, sit out. There was chairs, you sit down and bid. That was a beautiful thing. Instead of standing out in some field with mosquitoes and.
Yeah. I remember watching the video where the guys went up to like in the middle of nowhere, and again they were bidding on these auctions, and they were selling. It's like you said, like a house. They were pretty much selling everything, including the house. Yeah. They had cars and trucks and farm equipment, and like I said, and all kind of stuff. In fact, I think it was Pat Dees was involved in that. Where he went up with a couple of his friends, and they were bidding on it. And they kind of were teaching him how to get involved with auctions, what you look for and whatnot. So it was kind of interesting to kind of when he was live streaming. So it was really interesting.
That is cool.
So yeah, so I thought that was interesting. So, and he said that you basically only get involved with online auctions, I guess, when you don't have opportunities with the pandemic and, when it's winter time or whatever, maybe they don't run the auctions. Are they more seasonal, or how does it work with auctions?
Well, no, there's some around that are exclusively online anymore. And yeah, that used to be seasonal, and that seems to be a growing thing. High bid seems to be getting more and more popular. And I've even considered selling on high bid. I haven't really looked into that yet either, but my friend Nady Pie, he's done some of that, and I might talk to him about teaching me.
Yeah, guys. I mean, I always tell you that you really need to share information, and you network with other resellers, and like I said, God willing, when this thing kind of comes under control, and there'll be more in-person auctions, and I'll probably go, and maybe I'll buy a small storage unit. I can't do a big unit, but maybe I'll get involved with a smaller storage unit, or maybe I'll go to some of these in-person auctions. One thing I wanted to bring up too, and I didn't write it in my notes, but it came to mind and it came back to me. Is it kind of like with the estate sales, where you make relationships with the various auctioneers, and maybe you go in at the end of the auction and say, look, I want to make an offer. I'm going to buy, these 6 boxes that didn't sell, or how does that work?
Yep, that happens quite a bit. And actually, sometimes at the end of the sale, they'll say, whatever's left here, take it. We don't want to have, we're throwing it in the dumpster, so grab stuff. We've picked up a lot of stuff that way this summer. Marcy and I have. But yeah, if they're not doing that because the family doesn't want to do that, still, yeah, you can bundle up stuff and say, hey, this didn't sell. I'll take this off your hands for $1, and sometimes they jump on it. It's nice.
Yeah, and I hear stories sometimes. I mean, sometimes something's in a box, it's nestled away somewhere, and people might miss it or something, and you don't bid on it, and then you say, okay, like you said, I'll buy these 6 or 7 boxes. And again, guys, I talk about it on this channel all the time. It's about building relationships. So, be friendly with the auctioneers, or the estate sale people or whatever. And Mike, that's in the chat earlier, I don't know if Mike's still here, but he says he builds relationships with these various estate sale sellers, and he kind of knows how they work things, and they actually allow Mike to come in before they even list things. He says, I said, well, Mike, when do they put this stuff up? He goes, well, sometimes they'll put it up to Friday. I said, why is that? He goes, because they had me come in like 2 or 3 days prior, and he goes, I get picking a litter. He goes, I get to pick and choose what I want, and then they post the pictures.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's different with auctions, but again, you make relationships with the auctioneer, and then if they have stuff left over and maybe you're interested in several boxes, like you said, I mean, you pay $1. What's the worst thing that can happen? Maybe you resell some of it, you donate some of it, and you throw out the rest of it.
Yeah.
You got $1. Your cost of goods is $1 for a box of stuff.
Right. And sometimes that's what you are. You're just their garbage man, but it's still fun because, that's where you're digging for treasure. Because you didn't see everything in that box or in those boxes. So now you get it home and you get to dig in there, and sometimes you pull out a few things that are worth $10 or $15. Once in a while you find that treasure that's worth more, but yeah, that's what I love.
See your wife's comment here?
No. Oh, she's talking about the Amish auctions.
Okay. So people come around and they kind of overpay.
Yeah.
Thomas says they have a lot of Amish auctions in his area as well.
Yeah, those are interesting. It used to be a good source for, we'd go get vegetation and stuff like that. Pumpkins and fall produce.
Foliage and those type of things.
Yeah, and it used to be really cheap, and anymore it's just not.
Yeah, and like Sharon says, she's pre-picking tomorrow.
Sweet. That is a beautiful deal.
Yeah, I mean, again, she builds relationships with the various, sellers, whether we're, and she goes and they say, Sharon, come in a couple of days prior and you take a look, and we'll I guess I don't know, sometimes I think she buys in advance, or sometimes they'll put it aside for her, and I guess, but she's got friendships with these people, and then sometimes they'll make her a deal on it. It's like, I want to buy this, and this, and like I said, you pre-pick it, pick out what you want, and before it even hits the auction or hits the flea market, so to speak, or
I had one auction
whatever it's called in your area.
One auction worker, I put in a video. I've put him in a couple videos now, and he's pretty excited about that. So him and his family would watch my videos just to look for him.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'll show up at the auction and he'll tell me, "Oh, Chuck, there's some Pyrex down there you'll want to watch for. And, make sure you get in on this Tupperware deal." And I'm like, thank you. So, yeah, that helps too.
I talk about, even at thrift stores, be nice to the help. I mean, I hear stories in some of these groups how some of these, big top-notch resellers, they have relationships with the managers, with the employees, and they'll before they even put stuff out in the store, they'll say, "Hey, Jamie, I got a bunch of stuff, the books in the back. Why don't you look through them, see what you want, take out what you want in a cart, and everything's priced, and then we'll put the rest out to the general market."
That's wonderful.
But it's just the way it is, guys. You got to build relationships. You got to be nice to people. I mean, it's running your business. It's funny. I was reading something and these different tips and things and sayings and stuff. And run your reselling business like, even if you're part time, run it like a business.
Amen.
When I was in sales, I had to build relationships with people, and maybe you buy them a cup of coffee, or you're asking about their family, or you if you can't remember stuff, put it on your phone, write it down. Chuck's grandson is Mike. He lives in South Wisconsin or whatever, and just pick up conversation. And I forget who it was telling me something. They had a problem at their post office. And they always have a problem with this particular postal clerk. And it might have been Beth. I think it was Beth Reseller Rowboat. And she said, it definitely was Beth Reseller Rowboat. And she said she heard this woman talking to an employee or to another customer about her grandchildren or something. And Beth heard, they're going to college or whatever. So she engaged this woman in a conversation about her grandchild, and she could have been nicer to her. And she went back to her old habits after the fact. But, sometimes that's what it takes.
Pull the right strings.
Exactly. Okay, I just want to see if there's anything I missed about. I don't think I missed anything else. Is there anything else you want to share about the auctions?
I don't know. They're fun. Try them. And don't be afraid if you've never gone to one. Some people say they're intimidating, but these guys, these auctioneers deal with new buyers all the time. If you screw up, if you bid on something and they say you won and you're like, wait a minute, how much was it? I didn't understand that we were, that was the price for each one. I thought it was for all of them. They'll be understanding, and they're usually pretty cool about it. The ones I had experience with anyway. Right. It's not that scary. Just, know your price and don't get too caught up in the emotion. And
don't get caught up in the competition of it. Have your price. And do you set like a top price, and that's kind of like, do you come out with that price right away, or you work your way up to that price?
I usually work my way up to it, and then sometimes I'll get maybe $5 more wouldn't hurt me.
Right.
But I'm usually pretty strict.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, I'm going to ask you a few more questions. I want to ask you the typical reselling questions, because you do reselling. I want to ask you too, when I want to get back to a little bit about your reselling business. You said you're on multiple platforms. Were you like 98%? You said on eBay.
Probably.
Okay.
Probably 95 or so.
Okay, so I'm going to assume. I always tell people you shouldn't assume. There's a saying about assume. When you assume, what happens, whatever. You don't use any kind of cross-posting software, I'm assuming, right?
I don't. And I actually had an opportunity to use some for free if I would promote it, and I didn't. But no, we haven't done that yet. We figure once we grow our presence on those other sites, we'll consider that.
Gotcha.
But for now, we're just doing it manually.
Okay. But like you said, we have 7 items, and then it's like a handful of items on some of these other sites.
Right. Yeah, okay. It's pretty easy to remember right now what we're doing. But
going to ask you the typical reseller, live stream questions about your best flips, dollars wise and percentage wise. What comes to mind for you?
2 fun ones, I guess. One was, we're bread and butter usually. We don't usually find these huge deals that a lot of people do. But one time we went to an auction, and the auction was still going on. We don't know why there was so much stuff in the dumpster, but Marcy actually found it. She looked in the dumpster and found a JFK bust, and it looked like high quality. It was a marble base and a really artsy bust. So we took it. We just thought it was interesting, and did some research on it, and come to find out that these were created, they're replicas of something that's in the Smithsonian that was created right after JFK was killed. And these were the miniature ones were given out at the Democratic National Convention, the next one after his assassination. And there was only like 300 of them made. Granted, we didn't get a ton of, I mean, we sold it for $75, I think, but it was banged up, chipped up, and we got $75 out of the garbage. That's one of our favorite stories to tell. This summer, I actually bought a Stomper Truck, which was a toy that was popular when I was young. It's a little bit bigger than a Hot Wheel, and it's, it takes a battery and it's motorized 4-wheel drive. I found one new in the package at an auction. It was in a big lot of toys that I bid on and didn't win, but I thought, I'm just going to see, there was tractors in there, and maybe that guy was after the tractors, and he was. So I said, can I buy that Stomper from you? And he said, sure, $5. And I bought it and totally intending on keeping it and reliving my childhood, until I got home and looked up comps, and I ended up selling that for $300, and it sold fast. Like within
$300, and you paid $5 for it.
Yep, I paid $5, and I got $300 for it. So those are probably my best. I sold a CPAP machine once too, and then I got a slap on the wrist. eBay let the transaction go through, and I got paid. I paid $5 for it and sold it for like $250 or something.
They let it go through.
They let it go through, but they said don't ever sell those again. So I'm like, okay, sorry.
Well, that's a pro tip. What you said, reaching out to somebody that maybe bought a box of stuff and seeing if something you're interested in, if they're willing to sell. I've heard that before, but it didn't even come to mind.
Yeah, I actually also this might have been last summer. Tools, John Deere tools, and International Harvest Tool specialty tools. There were boxes of them going at this auction. It was really just me and one other guy buying them. And he had gotten a big lot of them. And I noticed right away he grabbed this one tool out of it. And he actually approached me. He's like, you want the rest of those? I'm like, yeah, how much? He goes, I don't want them. And so I took all of his, except he wanted that one tool. And yeah, I was selling those for, I don't know, $25 a piece, some of them.
Wow.
So yeah, you never know. You talk.
And how many tools were in the box?
I think total I had probably 60 tools. I mean, just hand tools, but they were old for antique tractors and stuff that people still maintain today. They collect the tractors and they need to fix them. Or some of them, they just hang on the wall too. But
Marcy says she does the same thing, I guess, with some of the women at the auctions.
Yeah, because they'll buy lots of stuff where they get the blankets and the pots and pans that they want, and there's radios and stuff in there that they can't use.
So guys, again, that's a pro tip. So if you're going to get involved, and again, if you have somebody like Chuck that can take you and kind of teach you the ropes at an auction, but if not, consider some of these things. Maybe rewatch this video, write down some tips about speaking to people that maybe bought a box of something. They said maybe they're just interested in one item, or going up to the auctioneer afterwards and saying, hey, I'm interested in buying this stuff, you didn't sell it. You never know. Or if you inadvertently bid on something and you thought it was for the whole box and it was for one item. Again, I don't know if this, I'd be afraid to do it, but you're saying you can say to the auctioneer, it's like, oh, I thought it was for the whole box. So
he wouldn't believe me.
Well, yeah, well,
they know me, but
right.
But yeah, if you're new and say, I'm sorry, I was swatting a fly or whatever, they understand.
I was swatting a fly. I just had a facial take. That wasn't a bid.
We actually got into perfume too, starting with an auction where somebody had bought this lot of costume jewelry that they wanted, and there was 3 bottles of perfume in there, and I gave them $5 for the 3 bottles. Well, there was one was Chanel just Eau de Toilette, one was Chanel No. 5, and I forgot what the third one was, but it was another higher end one, and I paid $5 for it, and we made a lot of money on those.
Yeah, I hear about people. The only thing I really know about that is some of these discontinued fragrances are very popular, and they have to be shipped ground. That's all I know, because there's alcohol.
Yes, they do.
Shipped ground. That's basically all I know about fragrances. And I know because of my body composition, I have to use men's eau de parfum.
Yep.
I can't just use like toilet water, because it's going in like a matter of minutes. So I have to use the more expensive stuff, which I haven't really used it in a long time, but I know that my body composition, I have to do that. So. Guys, were there any questions? We have a couple more things I want to talk to Chuck about. We're definitely going to talk about his YouTube channel. Are there any other questions that you guys may have about auctions while we have Chuck wanting to share his expertise with us? Just pop them in the chat. I prefer if you put like a capital Q and maybe question marks after it. Makes it easier for me to find it and the my moderators to find it. So when you come back to, and I figure while we're waiting for the questions, guys, I just want to bring up a couple things. We talk about we're all in business to make money, and I'm basically doing this to help you guys, but I'm not monetized. So if you're getting any kind of value, please consider helping me offset some of my expenses. I have Buy Me a Coffee, PayPal, Cash App. I also have some Amazon links. So if you guys are considering buying something on Amazon, you don't even have to buy anything that I'm selling. I have reseller items, but you click on the links, and for 24 hours, you're cookie to me, and Amazon will pay me a small commission at no additional cost to you. So kind of helps offset some of my expenses. So, and also one other thing, my friend Randy, who I've talked about several times during the chat, Randy has a great business where he sells coffee, tea, and old-fashioned candies. So the link to Randy's information is in the description below. So if you guys are interested in buying anything, you can help Randy out. You can buy yourself some cups of coffee. And if you put AE when you register for the site, Randy is kind enough to pay me a small commission at no cost to you guys, and it would help me out also some of my expenses. I see something about
John Jones.
Does Chuck ever do Gov Deals auctions? Okay.
I don't know if Gov Deals is a specific auction site, but I do buy state government things here in Wisconsin. They have their own website, and it's kind of funny because I've made some good money having no idea what I'm selling. I've bought electronic equipment out of my own university's lab that they replace, and I'll just ask the tech. I'm like, does this stuff work? Yeah, we just got a grant to get all new stuff. These work, but okay, what is it? And they'll tell me now. Okay, thanks. And I'll go research them, and sometimes they're big clunky things with lots of knobs and whistles on them, and I'll find a name, I'll list it, and I've made some good money that way because I'll buy them for $1 or $6, and they'll sell for $60, $70. I got a whole bunch of closed captioning decoders right now. I don't know what a closed captioning decoder is, but I'll make you a deal on one if you need one.
I know what closed captioning is. I don't know what the decoder is.
But... Yeah, I don't either. I'm guessing our school used to have a broadcasting thing, so it probably came from there. And I have sold 2 of those out of the 15 I bought for $12, and I sold them for I think $60 each. I
used to watch liquidation YouTube channel. They sold basically liquidations. Now they're on the dumpster diving, and believe me, guys, some of you are really in the dumpster diving. I can't dumpster dive, so it really doesn't pique my interest. But I mean, some of these channels do extremely well with the dumpster diving. But anyway, they used to go to these various locations. I think it was like one of the universities or something had a shop, I guess, attached to on their campus where they, like you were saying, they would sell the equipment that was like old equipment but still working, and they would put it in the store for resale. And sometimes it would run sales or special, I guess like a thrift store. They would have special prices on it. And they did very well back in the day buying at that particular store. They would go, once a month or something and check out this particular store. And then they would, see if they can buy the stuff and resell it.
Yeah. It's an awesome source.
Jules says, has you or anyone else that used Auction Broker, U.S. Auction Broker site? Are you familiar with that at all, Chuck?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with that, I'm afraid.
Okay, Jules. Again, guys, I tell you guys, rewatch this stuff. So write that down. I'm gonna write that down, Jules. Thank you for putting that in the chat.
Yeah, I think I will too. Maybe I'll
write that down. Maybe write down what Tommy said about taking the pictures too.
Yeah.
Auction broker site. Okay, I'm gonna have to use the most popular search engine, Google, and Google that.
Google it.
Okay. Sharon, Randy, Michelle. Did I miss any other questions? Let's see. I'm just scrolling back into the chat. Guys, if I missed anything, just please repeat it in the chat here, and we'll get Chuck to answer it. In the meantime, Chuck, once you get into your YouTube channel and tell people about your YouTube channel, your lives and your recorded videos. Right
now, it's still all on one channel. I do a live every week with Nady Pies, Trinkets, and Doodads, and we alternate between my channel and his. That's Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Central, so 7 Eastern. That's just a silly show. We do talk reselling, and if you come on there and you ask questions, we will do our best to answer them. But it's kind of a hangout, kind of, be goofy. This week we
have 2 Beardos.
Yeah, the 2 Beardos. Thank you. It's good to have a name. That we will be moving that to separate live channels soon, but we haven't done it just yet.
Yeah, I saw that you have a separate live channel. Okay, so you're going to be moving it to your live channel.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I want to interrupt for 1 second. I do have Chuck's Instagram and his YouTube channel in the description below. So if you want to click on that, and then if you look up Chuck's channel, you'll see that he has that live channel, so you can subscribe to both channels.
Thank you. Also, and then I also do recorded videos every week. It's usually, I'll take you through a thrift store or to an auction, and then I'll, get some highlights and show you what I got and throw up some comps. I have done I did one what sold video, and I'll probably do some more of those too. That's primarily it. I'm still trying to find my groove there. Every video I do is a little different because I don't have a system yet, but I'm having a lot of fun with that. I love doing the editing and taking my cameras places and getting bolder and bolder with my camera. And most people don't question me though. So
do you use like a regular mirrorless camera, or do you use your phone, or what do you use?
I have a GoPro is what
I have a GoPro. Okay, cool.
Yep. And
how are they with the auctions with using GoPros? I know Goodwill is very anti, filming typically.
Yeah.
In their thrift stores.
I have done it in Goodwill. That never been questioned, but
okay.
Yeah, I like the GoPro, and I used to put it on a chest thing, and now I don't even do that. I have a selfie stick, and I just walk around.
Okay. I guess you just approach the auctioneers or whatever before and say, "Is it okay?" Or you just
no. I do it.
It's better to ask for forgiveness. Is that your theory?
Yeah. If I have to apologize later, I will. But the 2 of them that I know I do it don't care. They've come to me and say, "I don't care." And then they say, "Why do you do it?" "Oh, I have a YouTube channel." And some think that's pretty cool that they're getting some free advertising, I guess. But
yeah, I was going to say you don't want to increase your competition. I was going to say maybe get them to sponsor your channel, but I don't think I would do that because you don't want to increase your competition.
Yeah.
I think that would be such. After I thought about it, I was like, yeah, that's probably not a very good idea. Okay, so again, it's on Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Central.
Yep, that's the 2 Beardos.
Okay.
And then I usually every Wednesday evening or Wednesday at 3 p.m. is when I usually upload a video. This week is the first time in a year that I didn't have one. I don't have one this week. I'm sorry,
okay.
But I'm doing a 500 sub drawing here soon.
Great.
And yeah, good stuff.
Okay, guys. So again, Chuck's the link to his YouTube channel and his Instagram are in the description below. So again, click on his link. And I didn't mention it earlier because I was trying to wait for the questions to come in. But again, if you're not subscribed to my channel, you're getting value, please consider subscribing. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on your way out. You can leave a comment. It helps drive traffic to the channel. And if you can share, that'll be even great appreciated also, guys. So again, guys, like I said, I'm always looking for other resellers to join me. So if you're interested in coming on, especially this time of year, although we're getting out of summertime and hopefully things will free up better with some of the other resellers. So every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, I do a live stream and normally have other resellers on and have them share their expertise. I always say time is your most valuable asset. So I want to thank Chuck for taking the time to come on and share his experiences and his expertise with my viewers and myself. Hopefully you guys, we learned something. And I think Chuck and I actually learned something from the chat as well.
Yes, I did. And thank you, Sharon, for posting the links like you do. You're fantastic.
Sharon does a great job as a moderator. Thank you, Sharon. So yeah, guys, that's why we're here. We want to share the information and try to make us all more profitable and successful resellers. So see you next Wednesdays, guys. Thanks for all being here, and thank the people that are watching the replay as well.
Have a good one.